All right, here we go. We're live. They went alive with the rankings, or they went live with the rankings quicker than I anticipated. I thought we were definitely going to at least 7:15, but here we are at 7:08. Right now, I'm looking at Army at 25, Missouri at 24. So, expectation for Penn State really should be anywhere between. AP poll has them at 6. I think that's going to be a little on the higher end of things. I even think 7 or 8 is going to be on the higher end of things. My guess would be that Penn State's probably 9. I think 10 would be lower end. So my guess is probably in that 8 to 9 area. Key thing for Penn State, key thing for everyone to remember is that this is just the first one. There's going to be some movement. Tennessee's going to be around them. Tennessee still has Georgia to play. Indiana's going to be around them, and probably should be higher than them, given that they're undefeated. Indiana still has Ohio State to play. So as long as Penn State wins out, they go 11-1. I think they're going to be sitting pretty good for to host a bowl game, but we'll see. Key here tonight, if there is like any key, is where does Notre Dame fall? Because Notre Dame and Penn State are going to have generally pretty similar resumes as far as both going 11-1. Notre Dame has by far the worst loss, losing to Ball State at home, whereas Penn State's loss is going to be to presumably the number 2 and number 3 team, Ohio State. So curious to see where Penn State falls compared to Notre Dame. Notre Dame does have a chance for a couple of ranked wins. They still play Army. We'll see if Louisville stays ranked. They've already beaten Louisville and beat Texas A&M on the road, so they're definitely going to have better wins than Penn State, but we'll see where the Irish fall. Ideally, Penn State stays above Notre Dame to kind of ensure that they get a playoff spot. All right. We are looking at number 19, Kansas State. Moving along here. Pitt coming in at 14. Sorry, just tweeting out from BSD. Iowa State comes in at 17. Ole Miss at 16. Ole Miss is going to be another. I'm just kind of curious how the SEC all figures out. Just with there's a chance that a lot of them end up with 2 losses, and where does the college football playoffs kind of look, or the committee look at all these SEC teams that will have 2 losses or currently have 2 losses? Right here, we see Ole Miss at 16. We see LSU at 15. That seems like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, seems like it would be good for Penn State side of things, given that you certainly don't want to see too many SEC teams in the playoffs or jumping spots that maybe they necessarily should or shouldn't be, depending upon your outlook on where the SEC is at. But that seems like on the surface that's going to be a good thing for Penn State and for the Big Ten as a whole if LSU is at 15. But LSU also has a game against Alabama coming up this weekend that will certainly be, well, I shouldn't say certainly, because I still want to see how the committee deals with the SEC, like I was saying, but will likely be a playoff eliminator. Right now we have Texas A&M, another 2-loss SEC team, as the second team out. So they're coming in at 14, and SMU at 13. All right, so I had SMU as the 11th team or the 12th team, kind of was between SMU and Boise State for that 12th spot. So interesting that SMU is the first team out. That means Bama's definitely in the field. Once again, in the field for now. They have that game against LSU, which they lose that. It's going to be tough to see them to climb back into the top 12 by season's end. So not a lot of love for the ACC, believe Miami should be the only team that's going to be in the top 12, unless I'm missing a team. Clemson obviously dropped with their loss to Louisville. All right, we have Boise at 12, so no big surprise there. Boise is sitting rather pretty for the non-power 4 spot. Only lost to Oregon and cruising the Mountain West. Alabama, the 11th seed. Alabama, the 11th seed, so not too surprising. All right, here we get 10, 9, 8, and 7. I have Notre Dame at 10. Where does the committee have them? This is kind of where we could start to see Penn State at the 10th spot. And, of course, we get a little pause to talk about the Crimson Tide. All right, so once again, this is kind of the sweet spot for Penn State, this 10, 9, 8, 7 area. I'd be surprised if they're anywhere else but this. They really, I mean, I don't say they shouldn't be 10, but that would be a tough draw given that their only loss is at, to what will be the 2 or 3 team in the country by only 1 score. Notre Dame at 10. All right, that is a good sign for Penn State. Now, Notre Dame does have a chance to up their resume. They have Army coming up. They've already been in Louisville and Texas A&M, so Penn State fans definitely want to be rooting against Louisville, rooting against Texas A&M the rest of this way, so that Notre Dame's resume is not going to be looking as strong, because Penn State more than likely will not have any ranked wins, and if they do, it's going to be Illinois or Minnesota barely squeaking in. Right, they jumped to number 4. Well, BYU is 9, but they would technically actually be the 4 seed. So they're just projecting them as the Big 12 champion. So BYU at 9, that's pretty inconsequential for Penn State, because there has to be a Big 12 team in either 3 or 4, and there has to be an ACC team that's also going to be in that top 4. So where Miami and BYU are ranked, provided that they do win their conferences, not too important for Penn State right now. So BYU at 9. That's also pretty good for Penn State. I'm surprised that BYU is ranked that low, because they do have ranked wins over Kansas State. They have an impressive win over SMU. And wow, Indiana at 8, which would be the 9 seed. So Indiana ranked below Penn State. This is great for Penn State. This is absolutely great for Penn State. Because an 11-1, even if Indiana goes 11-1, considering they probably lose to Ohio State, that tough to see Indiana losing to Ohio State, but then somehow jumping Penn State. Once again, assuming Penn State goes 11-1, that is the key to all this. Penn State needs to go 11-1 to host a playoff game. I personally don't think they'd get in at 10-2, but this is shaping up pretty well that the committee does like Penn State. All right, so Indiana ranked 8th, but really the 9th seed. Is this where we get Penn State, or do we get Tennessee? So I had Indiana and Tennessee both above Penn State. So once again, going real well for Penn State here. Tennessee at 7. So Penn State, they're going to end up ranking Penn State probably 6 overall, because Tennessee is ranked 7th, but meaning they get the 8th seed, because BYU is going to jump up as the Big 12, presumable Big 12 champion. This is coming up Penn State, folks. This is coming up Penn State. I don't think that they're going to be higher than anyone else. So I would anticipate that Penn State will be ranked number 6, and they will have that 7 seed, which right now would be a matchup between the Penn State Nittany Lions and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Beaver Stadium to open the first round of the playoffs, which I know we're all still bummed out about the Ohio State game, but talk about an opportunity to pick up a big shot in the arm win that I think this entire fan base needs. Dramatic pauses here. I don't have the audio on, so I have no idea what they're saying. Well, right now we have Boise State at 12, Alabama at 11, Indiana at 9, Tennessee at 8 as the seeds, Alabama the 11 seed, BYU the 4 seed, and Penn State does come in at the 7 seed, meaning that they're going to be ranked 6th overall. Texas gets the number 5 ranking, meaning they're the 11th seed. That is really, 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 really good for Penn State and for their hopes moving forward. Don't want to mess around and somehow drop a game, go 10-2, but it seems like that there could potentially be some breathing room. I don't want there to be breathing room. I don't even necessarily like still the little upset part of me with how Saturday went. Like, if Penn State's not going to beat Ohio State and win some of these big games, then you need to win the games that you're not supposed to win. And Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland, that is a extremely doable 4-game stretch that I really, really want to see Penn State win. Go 11-1 and look at this. Make the freaking playoff. So, all right, Penn State ranked 6 once again. Ranked 6, but really the 7th seed. And as currently projected, they would be playing Notre Dame in the first round in the playoff. They would be hosting Notre Dame in Beaver Stadium. Really good. Really, really, really good. There obviously can be some movement. Tennessee has a game against Georgia coming up and can obviously win that one. It is at Georgia, though, so would presume that the Bulldogs are going to be the favorites there. Alabama will have a chance to move up. They can beat LSU, although it's tough to see them jumping from number 11 all the way past Penn State, considering that Alabama already has 2 losses. Yeah, I'm a little surprised right now. I had Penn State as the 9. I thought it was going to be 7 Tennessee, 8 Indiana, 9 Penn State, 10 Notre Dame. So very pleasantly surprised by this. If you're Penn State, you really can't ask for much more. So, yeah, that is a good week 1 of these college football playoff rankings for Penn State. We'll just stick on and see what the rest of the seeds are. Georgia comes in as the number 3 team, but the number 2 seed. So that means that we're going to get Oregon as 1, and we're going to get Ohio State as number 2, but the de facto number 5 seed, considering that the champions have to, the conference champions will be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to wrap up here. Thanks for everyone who joined. I saw at some points we had like up to 16 people on here. So thank you for all those that had joined. And if you're watching this on delay, you're not watching this live, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We were at 122 subscribers when we started, so make sure that you are subscribing so you know that when we go live, we're going to try and do more of these types of things. I'll definitely come back on next Tuesday, join live, and share my reactions as well. Hopefully, we continue to have weeks like this, though, where Penn State is. I'm pleasantly surprised where Penn State is ranked. That is, I know I keep repeating myself, but that is really, really good. I thought Penn State was going to be 9 or 8, and the fact that they were ranked number 6 and get the 7th seed is a really good sign of things to come. All right. We will see you tomorrow night when Tim and I will be back on here to preview Washington. See you guys.